Woman acts funny when she has been caught cheating, because she forgot that I have access to the camera in my house. It was a Saturday, just like any other. My parents had gone out of town for the weekend, and I was home alone. I'd gotten used to being alone, but that day, something unexpected happened. I was sitting in the living room, scrolling through my phone, when my security camera app pinged. A notification popped up, showing me a live feed of my living room. At first I didn't think much of it. Maybe my mom had come back early, or maybe it was just the wind moving the curtains, but when I opened the app I froze. There was a woman sitting on my couch, someone I didn't recognize. She looked nervous, glancing around like she was waiting for someone. I leaned in closer to the screen. Who was this? What was she doing in my house? And then, I saw him. The man she was talking to. I knew him. I had seen him around a few times before. He was the same guy my mom had been texting for weeks. I didn't know exactly who he was, but I'd seen his name on her phone. He was the one she always seemed to be making plans with. Always whispering in secret when I wasn't around. I couldn't believe it, but there he was, sitting in my living room, acting like he had every right to be there. My heart started racing. What was going on? Why was my mom, who always acted so loving and loyal, sitting there with this guy, laughing and talking as if nothing was wrong? She had no idea I was watching. The cameras in the house weren't just for security, they were my eyes when I wasn't around. And right then, they were showing me a truth I didn't want to see. The woman and the man were whispering now. It wasn't just a casual conversation, it was more than that. They were close, too close. I could hear their soft laughter, the way she was leaning in toward him, the way he was touching her arm. It made my stomach turn. I could barely sit still, but I couldn't look away either. I was watching my mom betray my dad, right in front of me, and she didn't even know it. She was playing the game, thinking she was getting away with it. I watched for a few more minutes, too stunned to do anything. I felt like I was in some kind of twisted dream. The woman and the man stood up, and she kissed him on the cheek before he left. It wasn't a quick peck, it was deliberate. I didn't need to read between the lines anymore. I didn't need any more proof. It was happening. My mom was cheating, and there was no way to deny it. I didn't know what to do next. Should I confront her? Should I tell my dad? But no, I needed to see how she'd act when she thought everything was fine. I wanted to see her face when she realized I knew. I needed to understand just how deep the lies went. Hours later my mom came home. She didn't know I had seen anything. She walked in like it was just another day. She smiled at me and asked how my day was. She was acting like everything was normal, like nothing had changed, but I knew. I couldn't pretend that everything was okay. Who was that guy? I asked, my voice flat but sharp. She froze. The smile on her face disappeared in an instant. She didn't know how to answer. Her eyes darted around the room like she was looking for an escape, but she knew there was no way out. I could see the panic rising in her. She tried to speak but the words wouldn't come. It was like she had been caught in the act, and for the first time, she didn't have an excuse ready. Who was he, Mom? I repeated, my voice growing more demanding. She opened her mouth, then closed it again. I pulled out my phone and showed her the video from the camera feed. The moment she saw it, she went pale. The color drained from her face, and I saw the guilt in her eyes. It wasn't just shock, it was fear. She was scared, not because she had cheated, but because she had been caught. She thought she could get away with it. She thought the cameras were just there for safety, not realizing that I had access to everything. She started, stumbling over her words. I can explain. I didn't want to hear her explanation. I had seen everything. I had heard everything. There was no excuse. The moment she let him into the house, it was over. There was no going back from that. You don't need to explain, I said, shaking my head. I saw everything. I saw how you two were laughing, how you were touching each other. Don't act like it's nothing. I'm not stupid. Her eyes flickered with regret, but it was too late for that. She had made her choice, and I wasn't going to let her talk her way out of it. I had seen the truth with my own eyes, and there was no way to erase it. I'm sorry, she whispered. But the words felt empty. She wasn't sorry for what she had done, she was only sorry she had been caught. She could have stopped it, could have kept her secret safe, but she hadn't. And now, everything had changed. I didn't feel sorry for her. I didn't feel sorry for what she had done to my dad. I didn't feel sorry for myself either. The trust that had been broken was too big to fix with a few empty words. The damage was done. Sorry doesn't fix anything, I said coldly. What now, Mom? What's your excuse? She just stood there, staring at the floor. She didn't have an answer. She couldn't. There was no excuse for betrayal. There was no excuse for what she had done. I didn't need to hear her cry. I didn't need to see her beg for forgiveness. I had already made up my mind. The truth was out, and nothing would change it. I turned around and walked away, leaving her standing there, broken and silent. I didn't know what to say to her. What was there left to say? I went to my room, closed the door, and sat down. I wasn't angry anymore. I was just numb. My mom, the woman I had trusted all my life, had shattered that trust in an instant, and she didn't even care. Not really. She was only sorry she had been caught. I stared at my phone, thinking about what had just happened. It felt unreal, but the cameras had shown me the truth, and there was no denying it now. She could have tried to hide it. She could have tried to hide it. She could have tried to lie her way out of it. But she didn't. And that was the saddest part. The cameras had caught her, and she had forgotten they were there. And now, nothing would ever be the same again.